What's going on, guys? Sticks here with the Token Minorities, bringing you an inadvertent part 4 to my many types of Silvally mini-series, and this time we have a deck featuring Silvally-GX, but centered around, well, I guess centered around is a strong phrase, more including Dawnwing's Necrozma. And before I get into the deck, just a reminder that if you guys like this video or found it helpful, please leave a like, drop a comment, click that subscribe button. It helps us out a ton and lets us do more cool stuff for you guys. And as for the question of the day, this one actually is going to be related specifically to this deck, and that is, what is the next type of drive you would like to see Silvally get in the TCG, and why? Personally, I would like to see either... Actually, I want to see Fairy Memory. I want to see Silvally get a Fairy Memory for one reason, and one reason only: Ultra Necrozma. So I think that that thing is going to be, if not dominate the meta, at least have a very strong presence in the meta to the point where you need stuff to be able to take it on. And while I'm not saying that Silvally is necessarily like the perfect way or even a particularly sufficient way of potentially taking that on, I think that giving Silvally the ability to one-shot that thing with the proper drive would go pretty far in terms of balancing the potential impact of Ultra Necrozma, because I mean that thing looks to be pretty darn devastating. I mean, the combination of Ultra Necrozma, Malamar, and then Dawnwing's Necrozma just being able to consistently recycle the damage onto Ultra Necrozma could be pretty devastating for a lot of things in the meta, and just being able to destroy a bunch of different decks. I mean, take a lot of significant Okos fairly easily would be fairly negative for the meta, in my opinion. So I think that having Silvally get a fairy type drive, while I'm not saying that it would fix the problem of Ultra Necrozma or even make that big of a dent to it, I think that that would at least be something that Silvally in particular, and Silvally type decks, sorry I bumped the desk right there, that Silvally type decks would have in order to be able to deal with Ultra Necrozma a little bit better. So yeah, that's the drive that I would like to see Silvally get next. To let me know what type of drive you guys would like to see it get and why. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts. Leave that in the comment section below. But actually, one more thing before I dive into this deck. This was a deck that was originally, that I got the idea from Rare Candy, so go ahead and check them out. They are an excellent TCG site with a lot of very quality content, so definitely go check them out, as they are where this idea of the, well, this part of the many types of Silvally-GX originated. But anyway, onto the deck. Like I said, it is centered around obviously Silvally, but also Ultra Necrozma-GX with Invasion and Retreat. That's just basically what it is. And then of course there's a Zoroark, because I mean, why wouldn't there be a Zoroark? You're running a DCE. If you run DCEs, you're probably going to be running Zoroark or some variant of a Zoroark deck, because I mean, that's just, Zoroark is the meta card right now, and there's really no two ways about it. It's a fantastic card, can hit for 120, 150 with a choice band for just a DCE. It has one of the best abilities in the game that just turns a single card into your hand into two cards, just gives you extra draw. It's one of those things that fits in any deck that runs DCE, and a lot of decks run DCE. So yeah, Zoroark is the meta card, so obviously you can combine that with Silvally, as it's already running DCE. And then with Ultra Necrozma, you do have the Invasion and Retreat. And so even though Zoroark cannot free retreat with Silvally, with the Necrozma you have the ability to free retreat. And really, while I said this deck is somewhat centered around Ultra Necrozma, Ultra Necrozma really just kind of serves as a mediator between Silvally and Zoroark. Although the way I like to play this deck, I like to try to accelerate the energy onto the Dawnwing's Necrozma a little bit more than I think you necessarily should with this type of deck. I mean, normally you would use Necrozma just to pivot in between Silvally and Zoroark, whatever you're feeling at the time. However, I don't like just playing with straight Zoroark or not using this if this is what the deck, if this is another potential version of the deck. So I like playing with Necrozma a little bit more as, I mean, yeah, for 3 energy it only does 120, and 3 specific energy at that. Silvally does 120 for 3 energy, but it's colorless, and you get acceleration off of it. So, I mean, Silvally just attacks much better than Dawnwing's Necrozma, but it's still just kind of a cool thing to have. You're able to hit for psychic typing, which can be useful against things like Buzzwole, but then again, and so, I mean, it does mean that you don't have to run the psychic memory. So, I mean, it does have its uses for attacking, but overall, really, you just use Ultra Necrozma to pivot between Silvally and Zoroark and only attack with it when you need it. But that being said, it can be very useful against Buzzwole. But anyway, I'm done talking. I'm just kind of talking in circles right now, so I'm just going to go ahead and start with the Mons and go from there. 3-3 of Type Null and Silvally, because Silvally is really what this deck is all about, just being able to have multiple Silvally for that free retreat, so that you have the Rush-In and Retreat with the Necrozma, but also accelerating energy with Turbo Drive, and then potentially having the Rebel GX to hit for a ton of damage if that's what you decide that you need. 2-2 of Zorua and Zoroark. We could run a 3-3, but meh, 2-2 is a little bit better just because you really only need 1 Zoroark, 2 at the most, because, I mean, you are really focusing around attacking with Silvally and, to a lesser extent, Ultra Necrozma. So while Zoroark is the meta card, a 2-2 line is sufficient for what you want from it in this deck. 2 Ultra Necrozma, or 2 Ultra, wow, I wish. 2 Dawnwing's Necrozma just for, like I said, that Invasion and Retreat, the ability to hit Psychic weak Pokemon for super effective damage, and just the ability to pivot in between our attackers to attack with what we want. And then 3 Lele, just maximum, well, not maximum amount of Lele, but a lot of Lele, because Lele is actually a decent attacker in its own right, and also maximizes our chances of being able to get a Lele into a Brigette turn 1 while still having a draw supporter later in the game. So 3-2, very heavy, but that's also maximizing our odds of being able to start with that. 2 Field Blower, as this deck does rely quite a bit on abilities, so Garbotoxin is deadly for this deck, but also gets rid of choice bands that can do extra damage to our GX attackers. 4 Max Elixir to accelerate energy as quickly as possible from the deck. 1 Rescue Stretcher as the means of recursion. We don't need Super Rod because Silvally gets energy from the discard pile with Turbo Drive. 4 Ultra Ball to guarantee get the Mon that we want when we want it. And as for these supporters, like I said, 2 Brigette with 3 Lele to maximize our odds of starting with it, because this deck does rely on evolutions, so getting those things into play immediately means that we will be able to evolve by turn 2 and then get things going. 2-4-3 of Sycamore and Cynthia, just because this deck likes shuffle draw a lot more than discard draw, but there are times where you just can't beat those 7 cards, so that's why Sycamore is there. And then 3 Guzma, because Guzma is Guzma. I'd like to run 4, but 4 Guzma just clogs things up a little bit too much, and 3 I've found is sufficient for having a Guzma when you want it. 3 Choice Band boosts the damage output of our Mons just by that 30 damage, which can make a big difference in some situations. 2 Fighting Memory and a single Fire Memory. For Silvally, we don't need the Psychic Memory because, like I said, Dawnwing's Necrozma does cover the Psychic type attacking of this deck, so you don't need to run that. You can just run Choice Band and then attack with Dawnwings. Frees up a little bit. Well, frees up like 2 slots in this deck. But I mean, still, hey, that's sufficient, so that's why we only need 2-1 of Fighting and Fire, and then 4 DCEs, as that's what our Mons run off of except for Ultra Necrozma, and then 10 Psychic Energy, running 10, so that way, statistically speaking, we should be able to hit our Max Elixirs when we play them. But yeah, that's a deck, pretty straightforward. Let's go ahead and see this deck in action. Alrighty, we've got one against, what was it, a Morid Core 2 Armored Core. Armored Core 2, I'm dumb. Oh, wow. Can't believe that. That's so funny. But regardless, I do start off with actually a pretty darn perfect hand. I have a couple Type Null, I have a Brigette, I have Lele, so basically I'll be able to get double Type Null, double Zorua, and a Dawnwings turn 1, and I don't even have to play a Lele either, just because I top deck into the Sycamore as well. So Unfortunately, I don't have both my Zorua in the deck, so I mean, it stinks, but I mean, what are you going to do? So what I'm going to do is just grab a Zorua and a Dawnwings. Do I want to just grab another one or another type of Null? I think... yeah, I guess, because I mean, I have 3 Silvally. I might as well go for another type Null, play this down, then just energy up. Yeah, I might as well just energy up the active. And then I think call it a turn right there. So it's a matter of how do I want to play out this next turn. What I can do is go ahead and Sycamore away, just put the energy in the discard pile and hope that I draw into a DCE. But he does Guzma up my Dawnwings, which actually, I mean, while it does 60 damage to me, can actually work out better for me. So if I hit this, then I'll be in an amazing position, which I do. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is that Sycamore get rid of the Psychic Energy. This way, whatever energy I draw into will allow me to attack with a Silvally if I'm able to get that, which, again, I do. So I'm able to... let's actually see if I can hit the Max Elixir, which I don't. If I did hit the Max Elixir, I would have just gone ahead and put it onto the type Null. That way I could save the energy in my hand. But anyway, we get the Silvally, get the energy, and now we can retreat the Dawnwings. Let's go ahead and play the Choice Band and then Turbo Drive onto the Bulu. What I could have done is played the Field Blower to get rid of his Choice Band so that he can't do an extra 30 damage. But at this point, this Bulu doing 60 to me isn't as big of a deal as potentially later in the game if he gets another Bulu set up with more energy to where 180 instead of 150 is a very big deal. Or, no, 210 instead of 180 is a very big deal. There we go. So, I mean, that's kind of what I'm saving my Field Blower for. Not a Bulu that's going to be knocked out very soon, but a Bulu that could potentially one-shot a fresh Silvally or a fresh Zoroark, because ultimately this really, I mean, I guess technically the 60 damage, or the 60 versus 30 could be a big deal when it comes to him being able to use the GX attack or having to use having to go for 180 and discard his energy. But regardless, he does play a second energy onto the Bulu, so I'm going to be able to get rid of the rest of his energy on board. Unfortunately, I don't have anything else going. However, I mean, I'm still able to hit his Tapu Bulu for a knockout. So even though I'm somewhat stuck right now, I'm still not in a bad position because, yeah, I have another type Null, soon to be Silvally, that I'll be able to power up very easily, and I can hopefully draw into something that will allow me to get the cards that I need to take a knockout or at least get more setup. So I mean, it's not a great situation, but I could definitely be in much worse of one. So the Lele is going to come down, get an energy on it. That means it's not going to be able to hit my Silvally this turn. I'll be able to get another 120 damage off. The Field Blower comes down, gets rid of 2 Choice Bands. That's quite frankly okay with me. I'm really not... I mean, I would be two-shotting the Lele anyway, so the Choice Bands, while they are nice... I mean, even with the Fighting Fury Belt, like, Turbo Drive is still going to be a 2-hit KO. So, get my Ultra Balls, what I can do... Ultra Ball to get rid of the Fighting Memory and the whatever else that was. I got rid of something. Oh, the other Ultra Ball to grab a Lele so that I can grab a supporter. Let's Field Blower, get rid of his Fighting Fury Belt. I mean, I know I said I was saving it for later, but I mean, this extra 10 damage. Well, I mean, it was either play it now or play it or just discard it, which, I mean, I'd rather play it. I definitely would rather play it, especially because it reduces damage even if it is just by 10. So let's Sycamore, see if I can draw into a Zoroark. I unfortunately do not, but at the very least I do get another Silvally. So what I can do, let's actually just start powering up this, and I think I'm actually going to go ahead and retreat. No, let's Turbo Drive. I mean, it was a matter of, okay, do I want to retreat and then be able to Turbo Drive the energy back in, or do I just want to go ahead and attack? I mean, Lele... Actually, I don't think Lele can knock me out this coming turn, but I mean, if somehow he managed to get a knockout, then I could just Rescue Stretcher, get the Silvally back while still being able to turbo drive the energy. So yeah, he is going to be able to energy drive, do a bunch of damage to my Silvally. That way it's only 30 damage away from a knockout. And what I'm going to do this turn is actually just go ahead and retreat my Silvally. Cynthia, see if I can get a Zoroark and another Silvally. Well, I get the Zoroark, and I will be able to potentially get another Silvally with an Ultra Ball if I so choose. So what I'm going to do is just evolve into Zoroark, play the DCE onto the Zoroark, and then let's go ahead and Turbo Drive, knock out the Lele, while accelerating more energy onto my board. I think... I actually think I'm just going to go ahead and attach to Necrozma, because I can always just attach the DCE to my type null in order for it to be ready to attack. And oops, I forgot to trade this turn. Oh well. I mean, I really didn't... There wasn't anything particular that I wanted apart from what I already had. I mean, like, my board is great. I have 2 Silvally set up, and what I can actually also do is go for Tapu Lele-GX to completely heal up my Silvally, but I want to let this one take a little bit more damage before I decide to go for that. And my opponent plays down 2. Ooh, I think my opponent just gave me the game. Yeah, because by filling up his bench, I can just bring up a Tapu Lele. In fact, just by playing those 3 mons down, he gave me the game, because now I can use Rebel GX with Silvally, with the Choice Banded Silvally, to just knock out a Bulu, but by filling up his bench completely, that just means that I 100% have the game at this point. So yeah, what I'm going to do is DCE up this Silvally, go ahead and invade, Guzma up the Tapu Lele. Don't know why I invaded, actually, thinking back on it, because it was completely unnecessary, as I am just going to go into my other Silvally, go for the Rebel GX, knock out the Tapu Lele. I went for the extra 30 damage because why the heck not? There's no kill like overkill, and yeah, we are able to take the game. So unfortunately, my opponent was not able to get a lot set up. It was very obviously a Vikabulu deck, which is a very solid deck. I mean, it's not top tier anymore, but it's still a very solid deck that, if it gets set up, can be very, very dangerous. And once again, if it gets set up, can just run through you if you give them a chance. But luckily, we did not give them a chance to get anything going, and our setup was just able to overwhelm them. And unfortunately, they didn't draw into a lot, but yeah, that was a pretty solid first game. Let's go ahead and try to find another one. Alrighty, we have found another one against Tiger Dragon 25 with a, looks like a Volcanion deck. So this actually could be pretty interesting, because I'm not sure how this matchup goes. I mean, obviously Rebel GX, the more he plays down, the stronger my attacks will be, but again, I just don't know how that matchup plays out. I don't know how the Volcanion matchup goes, so it'll be kind of interesting, actually, to see from my perspective anyway. But regardless, I do start off with a very good opening hand. I'll be able to, well, I mean, I have a type null, I have a Lele for a, hopefully, Brigette. I mean, I really hope that there's a Brigette, and yes, there is. There's 2 of them, and I have 2 Zoroark, and unfortunately only 2 Silvally. That means 1 is prized. Honestly, not too huge of a deal, but yeah, let's go ahead and Brigette. And unfortunately, one of my Zorua is prized again. So what I think I'm gonna do, because I have 2 Silvally prized, I'm just gonna type null and Zorua, play the energy onto the active. It's not in any danger of getting knocked out this coming turn, unless my opponent pulls something insane, which, to be fair, Volcanion's one of those decks that can do it. He actually just goes ahead and goes for the Kiawe. So what that means is I'm definitely going to want to evolve this type null. I do not want to have to potentially get it knocked out this coming turn. So yeah, I get the Ultra Ball, so I'm just going to Ultra Ball, get rid of both of these Psychic energies to grab the Silvally. And unfortunately, I don't have any supporters, which is kind of bad, just because, I mean, I run enough supporters in this deck, I would think, anyway. But apparently not. So but I am still able to attack, luckily. So even though I'm not drawing into the supporters, I'm still able to play, and I'm still able to get the most out of the turns that I would want. So basically, like, what I wanted out of this past turn, get a Silvally and get energy in the discard pile for me to accelerate onto my bench Pokemon so that I can use Turbo Drive to its I guess, use it to its fullest extent. Even though I didn't get a supporter with the Ultra Ball, I was still able to get 2 cards into the 2 energy into the discard pile and get a Silvally. So I mean, I was still able to get what I wanted out of the turn, just not to the extent that I would want. My opponent's going to bring up my Ultra Necrozma, but I mean, with my Silvally, I'm going to have free retreat. I guess maybe he's just trying to play his hand down, see if he can somehow go back into Volcanion. But I mean, regardless, I still have free retreat, so I get another Psychic Energy, which isn't helping, but at the same time, I'm still getting stuff powered up. Like, I'm still able to get an attachment for the turn, I'm able to get a knockout, and still accelerate energy with Turbo Drive. So it's not like I'm not getting stuff, because I definitely am, and I'm in a good spot regardless. It's just a matter that I'm not able to get anything additional set up. He is just going to play the Professor's Letter, and if he doesn't have another Mon, then I'm just going to be able to win this game with Silvally next turn. He is going to steam up. If he has another Volcanion... Actually, no, he needs 2 more Volcanion. And he actually just goes for the Volcanic Heat, maybe just being like, screw it, I have to complete this... have to complete the daily challenge. I mean, we've all been there. We're all just like, well, I just need 1 more attack. I'm going to lose this anyway. Might as well go down swinging. And my Silvally is going to be able to take out the Volcanion with a Turbo Drive, and we are able to take the game despite only having a single supporter all game, and it wasn't even a draw supporter. So, I mean, I guess that shows what this deck can do even without draw supporters. I mean, admittedly, I was fortunate on my draws. I mean, I didn't get supporters, but I still got what I needed to make the most out of the turns. But regardless, that was a pretty solid second match. I mean, at least from my perspective. Let's go ahead and try to find another one. Alrighty, we have found another one against a Marinho DXD with, honestly, it looks like, I mean, it was dark, it was water, it was psychic, it was normal, so no idea what they're running. I mean, dark is probably Zoroark, because Zoroark is literally everywhere in the standard format. It's just like, do you have a deck? Yes. Does your deck have Zoroark? Yes. Then you have a chance of being competitive. I mean, that's just kind of how it works. And, well, once again, we continue with the trend of not getting draw supporters, but still getting very workable hands. I mean, I hope that my fortune stays the way it is in terms of drawing what I need. So, I mean, like, I'm not complaining, but I'm also not, like, overly ridiculously ecstatic. Because, I mean, I'll be able to get both Silvally and Zoroark up next turn. I had an attachment for the turn, so, I mean, if I can somehow, like, I don't even know, just top deck into Sycamore or something like that, then I will be in a fantastic position, because, I mean, once again, haven't gotten a draw supporter, but I'm still in an amazing spot. So, obviously, can't complain at all. Got the setup that I wanted. I have 2 type nulls, I have a Zorua, I have a Dawn Wings, and my opponent is running Octillery, so it's a matter of what they're running Octillery in. And, oh, no, stop it. I mean, like, actually, you know what? I'm okay with this, because, I mean, while, yes, I would have been able to get 2 Silvally and a Zoroark and a Choice Band, I didn't have a draw supporter or energy. So, I mean, this way, even though I won't be able to get as many evolutions as I would have otherwise, well, I guess this game really just wants me to have energy. Which, I mean, I'm not opposed to. It's just kind of like, well, okay, and even more energy, alright. So what I can do, actually, I think I might just Lele for a Sycamore to put a bunch of energy in the discard pile. Yeah, I'm getting rid of a DCE in the process, but, I mean, if this is, I mean, I get energy in the discard pile to be able to Turbo Drive, and this increases my odds of drawing into a Silvally, which I unfortunately don't, but the nice thing about type Null is I can just go straight for a Headbang, which knocks out the Remoraid. And with the Zoroark, oh, with Fighting Memory I can knock it out as well, so this coming turn, even if he gets a Zoroark and is able to knock out my type Null, which if he gets a full bench, he will be able to do, or he could just get this Zoroark, and he plays Enhanced Hammer? That's interesting. So, with the water energy, this is telling me that this is a Zoroark Glaceon deck, which is going to be kind of annoying. It's actually going to be really, really annoying, as I'm not able to one-shot Glaceon. And, well, there it is. He's going to be able to knock out my type Null and get another Zorua setup. So this is, because I whiffed so hard on that Silvally, this is honestly not looking the greatest. What I am going to do is put up my Dawn Wings, as it will be able to retreat. Let's see if I can hit this Max Elixir. Unfortunately, because, I mean, it's just like, okay, we're going to give you all your energy in your hand. I'm going to DCE up my Zorua, hopefully get a Zoroark to be able to... Okay, this works. So I get the Silvally so that I can have the free retreat. And then I can Ultra Ball for... Oh, there is a type Null. So what I'm going to do... Oh yeah, it just got discarded. So what I'm going to do to guarantee get the knockout is go ahead and grab that type Null. I might have to... I think I had to play my hand down to 0 for this with the Ultra Ball. Or I can get rid of the N. Let's get rid of the Lele and the N to grab the Zoroark. At least this way I have pseudo draw support with Zoroark and still have a way to knock out my opponent's Zoroark. So instead of, yeah, let's just trade. I mean, like, yeah, it gets rid of my Guzma, but I just need more cards in all honesty. So okay, get nothing overly amazing, but I mean it's still functional. I'll still be able to get an attachment, and I will be able to knock out his Zoroark, take another prize, and if anything, it just gives me more fodder to be able to trade next turn. I can try to set up Silvally in the background to be able to turbo drive, potentially knock out a Glaceon in one hit with a Rebel GX, and he is just going to attach to his Eevee. I mean, he evolves into Glaceon. I'll be able to 2-hit KO that thing. Unfortunately, I won't be able to trade anymore or use Tapu Lele's to draw into supporters. And he is just going to Guzma. What's he Guzmaing up? He's Guzmaing up the Dawn Wings. And then he's going to Field Blower, get rid of my Fighting Memory. That's unfortunate, but it's not the end of the world. And while this is making me get rid of yet another DCE, I think ultimately this is the right play, just because Glaceon can't get... Oh, I can't let Glaceon just start spreading around damage like crazy. The second that I do that, I'm in trouble. So even if I do have to discard a DCE in order to get in order to start attacking Glaceon, as soon as I take that out, I will have my abilities active again. So again, the sooner I can get my abilities and the less I allow Glaceon to attack, the less chances my opponent has of being able to win. So he does Pokemon Center Lady, which is, yeah, I was about to say, with even 100 damage plus the Choice Band, still able to KO the Glaceon from that range. And I guess my opponent played Pokemon Center Lady without realizing or without doing the math. And so, I mean, Zoroark would have been able to take that out. What I could have done is just started attaching energy to Silvally. I mean, I was down to my last DCE on that Zoroark, so if he had Enhanced Hammer, that would have been pretty bad. But I think my opponent really didn't have a whole lot going, and because he played the Pokemon Center Lady, he didn't have a supporter for that turn, regardless. So, yeah, able to take another game against a very, very annoying deck, and unfortunately, I am going to have to call that there. There's this thing called finals, and there's this thing called making it through your first year of med school, which I kind of, sort of would like to do. So, hope you guys enjoyed watching. Sorry this is going to be a longer video. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And this is Styx, signing out. Why not? See you guys.